Hey, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from Street Scores coming with a quick video. I wanted to discuss the possibility of a Ryan Kerrigan return. Is it likely? It's reported that we've been in talks with the Pro Bowl edge rusher, but there's also other teams interested. Let's go ahead and look at the situation and see it from Rivera and Mayhew's view. Let's see if we can find out if this may actually happen or not. Let's get it. Alright, so Ryan Kerrigan video. We're gonna have Ryan Kerrigan film on the screen, of course. And the reason I thought this was like highly unlikely in the beginning, I mean, we took William Bradley King and Shaka Toney back to back in the draft, but honestly, I think Shaka Toney projects best as Sam linebacker. So really, the only defensive end that we took in this past draft was William Bradley King. But Martin Mayhew addressed the media after taking both of those guys, and somebody asked him about possibly bringing Ryan Kerrigan back. Martin Mayhew said, quote, "We drafted these guys with the idea that these guys can contribute this year. We'll evaluate that during the offseason and keep an eye out for that after the draft. There will be guys who are released, and we'll keep an eye out for guys on the streets." Oh, he rhymed. Okay, a little bit of bars right there from Martin Mayhew. I see you, man. We'll probably have some tryout guys during our mini camps. We definitely plan to upgrade that position through the offseason, but we feel both of these guys have the opportunity with us. So that's really interesting. He said that they drafted both of those guys. Again, I think Shaka Toney is going to be a Sam linebacker, so he may not count, but they expect them to contribute early. They're not just like developmental projects where maybe like 2-3 years down the line. They believe that William Bradley King can contribute to this defense early on. But even so, the only notable names after Montez Sweat and Chase Young are William Bradley King and James Smith Williams. Both guys who have hyphenated last names like me, you know what I'm saying? We out here doing our thing. Also, John Comp reported that the door was not closed on Ryan Kerrigan's return, and this is after the draft. He said Washington wants to see how the young defensive ends have progressed when they get them on the field. Then, if still a need, they could try to bring him back. Of course, he'd have to want to return here too. So basically, we may not see Ryan Kerrigan return, if ever, until at the very least they get to see these guys, James Smith Williams, William Bradley King, maybe you can throw Shaka Toney in there, in like rookie mini camps, OTAs, and things like that. At the very least, don't expect Ryan Kerrigan to be brought in within like the next week. It's reported from John Com, and I was thinking this too, even before this report, that they want to see these young guys play, and that they feel like outside of Chase Young and Montez Sweat, we don't have enough talent that can contribute day one. Not necessarily if they're good or not, if they're going to be good or not, but if we don't have enough potential day one contributions from the edge rusher depth, then they probably will give Ryan Kerrigan a call. But also at the very end, what John Com said, he'd have to want to return too, and that's a very good point, because I mean, no matter how badly we want him, if he doesn't want to come back here, which, you know, I doubt, or if we don't want to give him the type of money that he's seeking, then there's a possibility for that. And remember, Ryan Kerrigan, the original reason that I almost thought for sure he wasn't coming back is because he said that he wanted to start somewhere. And that it necessarily wasn't even about the money exactly. I'm pretty sure that's part of it. But his main thing is that he wants a starting level role on a defense. And he won't get that here with Chase Young and Montez Sweat. I mean, I love Ryan Kerrigan, love what he's done, but he's not Montez Sweat or Chase Young. But it was interesting to watch him last year in a limited setting, because he played in all 16 games. He only started one though, but he had an interception, he had a pass defense, he had a fumble recovery, and he had 5.5 sacks along with 17 combined tackles and 6 QB hits. And he even said that him being part of a rotation kept them very fresh. And basically, last year's wear and tear doesn't even really count. Like going into the 2021 season, he's just as healthy as he was coming out of the 2019. Even though he is going to be 33 years old this season, you can still look at him as 32 again, because he didn't take much wear and tear. And he even talked about the fact that since he was coming in as part of a rotation, he was able to stay fresh and be able to contribute more per snap. Maybe not overall, but on a per snap basis, he was playing pretty well. Wasn't great, wasn't Pro Bowl level Ryan Kerrigan, but he was definitely more efficient with his limited snaps than if he would have just be starting. But either way, he said he wants to start somewhere, and I don't see that happening here, but we'll see. Maybe there's not enough teams that are seriously interested in him And he may just end up coming here just by default, just by the fact that no other team sees him as a starter. No other team is willing to pay him a lot of money. And when in doubt, you could just come back and play for your beloved Burgundy and Gold. Now, there have been teams interested in Ryan Kerrigan, at least reportedly. The Vikings, Colts, and Bengals. And note that the Vikings and Colts reported interests are very recent, like reported as of May, like after the draft. So that's very interesting to keep track of. But as far as Ryan Kerrigan returning, one of the things that I thought of immediately was that I would love for him to come back because he was here through all of the bad years, all of the terrible years, all of the dysfunctional years, Jay Gruden, Bruce Allen, Dan Snyder at his worst, all of that. And then now that we finally turned the team around, he won't be a part of that. You know, I want Ryan Kerrigan in return just because I feel like he deserves it. Now, I'm not paying him starter level money. I'm not making him a starter. I felt like $10 million last year was way too pricey, but I guess they couldn't find a way to restructure his contract. He's definitely not a $10 million a year player right now at all, not even really close to it. But I would still love to see him part of this organization, even if it's in a limited role. I would love for him to be in his locker room as a high character guy, as a captain. I would love for him to just be around the team now that the culture's better. The attitude is different. It's a positive energy over there. And I feel like he deserves that. Again, he doesn't deserve $10 million a year. He doesn't deserve to start. But I definitely feel like with all that he went through these past few years, through his prime with this team, what he's given his team, I would just love to see him back with the team. Deserve is probably a strong word because, again, he's not starting. He's not getting paid top edge rusher money at all. Not even starter level money. But man, it would be a great story to see him back on this team now that this team is no longer terrible, dysfunctional, chaotic, drama filled. Ryan Kerrigan, come on home, man. Also, some more names that Washington is linked to. It's reported that we have kept Russell Okung in sights after the draft, offensive lineman, so that's interesting. May bring him in depending on what goes on during mini camps, OTAs, once we see the offensive line, the younger guys, see what they can do on the field. Just like how they're waiting for James Smith-Williams and William Bradley King to see what they can do before they bring in Ryan Kerrigan. They may be doing the same thing with this young offensive line with offensive lineman Russell Okung. Also, Charles Leno and Bobby McCain are coming in for a visit on Monday, and I'm very excited. I hope we end up signing both of them. I feel like Bobby McCain is at a bigger need, so I'm more excited about the possibility of signing him. But at the same time, I would also like Charles Leno because he was just a Pro Bowler in 2018. And then he had an off season in 2019, but he bounced back in 2020. And I would love to see what he can contribute here. He's not even 30 years old yet and only 3 years removed from making the Pro Bowl. So I say, why not bring him in, at least for training camp during the 90-man roster, and see if he can make the 53. Because you never know, he may be our best day one starter. I love Cornelius Lucas. I think he's solid at left tackle. I think people underrate him mightily. But if Russell Okung can step in day one better than Cornelius Lucas, why not? Cornelius Lucas as a backup swing tackle is great. Samuel Cosmi as your developmental Pro Bowl level potential left tackle would be great to have behind them. You never know, Samuel Cosmi may step in day one and just take it over and never lose it for the next 10 plus years. But if you have a Charles Leno and a Cornelius Lucas competing for the starting left spot, who you know at the very least can contribute day one and step in immediately and be solid there and hold it down over there, then you don't have to rush Samuel Cosmi. You can take your time with him and let him develop the best way possible, whether that's quickly or with a more slow developmental process. Either way, you have the freedom to choose which one is best for him when you have Cornelius Lucas and Charles Leno ready to step up. And then also maybe Russell Okung involved in the conversation. But I just already think our offensive line is very deep. We have competition for starting spots like left tackle and left guard. And I feel like the rest are either developmental guys that could be great because of their talent, or they're at least depth. So I'm not exactly sure where Russell Okung would fit in, but I mean, if he can find a spot on this 90-man roster during these off-season workouts, why not? You never know. Maybe he's better than we think he is. I'm not very high on Russell Okung, but it would be really interesting to bring him in and see how he fares compared to everybody else involved. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please like it if you learned anything. Please subscribe. Hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get a notification every time I release an informative and opinionated video like this one. Also, please get in the comment section and let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. especially as far as Ryan Kerrigan goes. Definitely get in the comment section. I will be there eventually. Just been very busy, but I want to start to reply to a lot of these comments out there. I love interacting with y'all. I've just been very busy. And as always, man, I really appreciate all of the support, man. Big shouts out to everybody that donates to the channel, man. I really appreciate y'all, and huge shouts out to all of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors who names you see scrolling on the screen right now, man. I really appreciate y'all, and a special shouts out to my one All-Pro sponsor, Jaden. I really appreciate y'all. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.